Well, the seasons are changing. We're heading inside. It's time to make sure that your furniture throughout your house is best in class, comfortable, and stylish. And you can do all of that with Article because Article believes in delightful designs for every home. And thanks to their online-only model, they have some really delightful prices too. Their curated assortments of mid-century modern coastal industrial Scandi and boho designs make furniture shopping simple. Nally and I have several Article pieces, both indoor and outdoor furniture. We absolutely love them. Article is offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. To claim, visit article.com/VIALL and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/VIALL for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. What's going on? Sorry.
Can we keep that in?
I don't know. You can use it as a clip. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the new and exciting episode of the Viall Files Ask Nick edition. I'm your host, Nick, joined by the household. It's a skeleton crew today. We got Derek.
What's up?
And we have Allie live from Minneapolis. It's Allie Martin. Where in you do live in Minneapolis? Are you in Minneapolis? Outside of Minneapolis? No. St. Paul?
No, they're outside of St. Paul.
Outside of St. Paul. Isn't that kind of all the same?
I mean, sure. But if you talk to someone who lived in the Twin Cities, they probably want more of a specific. It's a big territory.
Yeah, I mean, for someone who's not from that general area, Minneapolis works. Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Do you have you? Is there like a team Minneapolis and team St. Paul?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like they're very different. Also, St. Paul is the capital. It's not Minneapolis.
They're like next door to each other.
I know. I'm just saying.
Anyway, Allie is in Minneapolis. She moved. Allie moved. I know Allie hasn't been on the show as much recently. She's been taking on more responsibility for us. Actually, not less, more. I've been super important in that department, but she is obviously still very much with us. But Allie had decided that LA wasn't her La La Land, and decided she wanted to go back home. And just because Allie means so much to us, we wanted to make it work with Allie. So here we are. We figured we'd have a little Nick, Allie, and Derek time. Where's Amanda's at a wedding or some shit? Where's she off to?
I'm not sure. I marked her in the calendars out of office, but I don't put the reason.
Amanda is not here. That's where she is.
She's on the East Coast.
She's on the East Coast?
Yeah, she probably waved to you, Allie.
Okay,
maybe.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe
I don't know.
She's flying over you right now.
Right now, as we speak.
But how was the move, Allie? Anything you want to say,
Well, I mean, I feel like a little like I don't want to lie because I was I always try. I don't like to do anything too risky. So, I still have my apartment in LA. I needed, a little safety net.
What did you do with your car?
It doesn't feel still in LA.
Okay.
Everything's in LA. I'm here.
So you might move back?
I'm trying to enter into an experiment in which I switch out variables at a time.
You're in a situationship.
I'm trying to be calculated. I needed a little reset. It might be permanent. I think we're going to take it day by day and see how it feels. But I will say so far, it's been nice. It feels a lot calmer. I get to take Kiki on these wooded paths, around a lake for her walks every day, as opposed to dirty concrete.
We lost our office dog. It's a real bummer.
I think that's what people are more upset about. It's not actually me.
Well, it's both of you. But there is something about having an office dog, Yeah,
there's a presence, there's less barking. There's still some barking, which is a little weird, but...
Yeah.
No, but Kiki was always so hungry for attention. She would jump on everyone's lap. She was crazy.
She really would greet our guests in a really loving way.
Yeah, she would sit with her guests. We would have guests crying and Kiki's there.
Where is she right now, Allie? She by your side?
She has the exact same bed that she had in LA. And then I brought her Viall Files bowl home. So she has the exact same setup. I think she thinks we're doing the same thing. just without all you guys.
That warms my heart. Yeah, I was wondering where your car was. I was driving in. I was like, what did she do with her fucking car? She just flew home.
Yeah. Well, I don't believe in the drive. I think you ship cars. I don't think you need to do
100% you ship cars. Yeah, it's actually crazy. I feel like most people don't know about this. Like, it's strangely not as expensive as you think it would be.
No. So I ran the numbers when I moved out to LA of what it would mean for like my parents and I to get in the car, drive several days, get hotels every night. Then you can't fit as much stuff in your car. So you have to end up just shipping additional stuff. And it actually ended up being
way more expensive.
To just ship the car with all my stuff in it and have us fly.
That's what we did with Natalie's car when she moved out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'll fly out to Savannah and we'll do some fucking road trip. And then I remembered when Jared moved out here and lived with me, he shipped his car out and he told me about it. It's like $1,000 or something. You know, maybe it's higher now with fucking gas and inflation. But yeah, when you do the math and gas and the time it's going to take, and short of you being like just a road trip warrior, and like you said, you could stuff your car full of your valuables. I mean, I guess there's always the risk that I wouldn't put anything too valuable in it. I feel like your car does go on a sketchy journey when you ship it across country.
I want to do like a time lapse, do one of those little like GoPros on your windshield,
that would
and just
actually
have it go with you.
And just have it go on the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting. But anyone moving cross country, you should consider shipping your car, not driving it out there. Save the miles.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where you're surprised by you would think it'd be way more expensive.
No, for sure.
Like I've had to like ship, I don't know, products, and that cost me a few $100 for shipping, and I'm like, what? Like maybe I had to overnight something, and then a car you'd think would be so much more, and it's just not. Wow. But anyway,
this intro is just a PSA for shipping your car.
Anyway, Allie, we're glad you're still with us. We're happy you are happy in Minneapolis, St. Paul, wherever the fuck.
Is that the twin? Is St. Paul the twin to Minneapolis?
Well, it depends on who you ask.
Okay.
St. Paul, like Allie said, is the capital of Minneapolis.
Okay.
So, Minneapolis, St. Paul is the capital of Minnesota. Excuse me. Minneapolis is the bigger city. It would be like, I'm like, as if most people know Wisconsin cities, but Milwaukee is the major city in Wisconsin. Yeah. Madison is the capital. They're an hour and a half away from each other. It would be like if they cut out that hour, the 90 miles between Madison and Milwaukee, and just like put them next to each other. It's kind of a bizarre thing. What is the history behind the twin cities? I don't like. Why do they just call it one city? Why couldn't they just
because they're two separate cities.
They're literally next door to each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know. But
New York's got 5 boroughs. Like,
I guess. I don't know. I'd love some Twin Cities history.
Minneapolis and St. Paul each began as tiny immigrant towns and grew up together, eventually forming a cohesive metropolis that's part bustling city, part sleepy suburb, part natural beauty, and all uniquely Minnesota.
Incredible. Good to know.
Wow.
That sounded like they're a travel site.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's literally TwinCitiesSightseeingTours.com.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounded like. I want the dirty history, Yeah,
why do they hate each other? Like, is there drama? Should we have them on?
I feel like, it's like a Sharks versus the Jets or something. It was like two rival gangs or something. Gangs of the Twin Cities.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's like West Side Story or something.
Martin Scorsese. Do we have a writer-iner, Allie?
We do. Okay. So this writer-iner says, I'm 30 years old, married for 6 years to my high school sweetheart, and we have a 1-year-old daughter. I would appreciate your advice and opinion. Recently, I have developed a crush on my younger coworker. We work in different departments, so we don't interact much. However, during our limited interactions, I have become somewhat infatuated. We share the same values and hobbies, in particular running, and he is very cute. I know that I would never act on this crush, but here are my questions. Is it normal/okay for a married woman to entertain herself with an innocent crush? Or is this a sign of a larger issue in my marriage? 2, the coworker and I are both very serious runners. I have some running goals that I hope to accomplish in the next year, and I would like to ask him for his help with my training. This could potentially involve going on some runs together or with a group. Is it okay to spend time with him, most likely in a group setting, and communicate with him about my training? Or am I just asking for trouble? I love my husband. He is my best friend, and we make a good team. We've known each other since we were 12, and that is a bond that can never be broken. But we are missing
That's
that
not
romantic spark and the butterflies that I feel toward my coworker crush. Is it okay to continue to innocently entertain this crush, or should I shut it down? And if so, how do I do that?
I'm kind of like disappointed in our writer-iner. Does she listen to this show?
I mean, she wrote it into us, so I would assume so.
Right? I don't know. Has she not listened to anything we've ever said?
But I do think it's impressive that she is reaching out. Like the amount of people who have called in who would have just acted on this and blown up their life. I think she's actually trying to discern why these feelings are coming up, what's okay, what's not. It's better for her to reach out and ask advice and actually be thinking about what she's doing than just blindly act on something and regret it down the line.
Oh, sure. Yeah. It's definitely a positive. I mean, I love it when she's like, we have so much in common, like running. It's like, okay. A lot of people run. Listen, yeah, it's like, okay, she has a crush. I'm glad she's acknowledged that, but it's not innocent. It's not an innocent crush. How would you feel if you found out your husband had a crush on a younger woman he worked with? How is that? How about what about any of that is innocent? We can't necessarily, we can control our thoughts and feelings, but at times it might feel like we can't. It sounds like, yeah, she's lost something about her and her husband. They've lost their connection, as we've talked about often on the show. Their connection isn't as strong as it used to be. And right now, instead of focusing on that and trying to reconnect with her husband and sitting down with him and just saying, hey, I feel a little bit more disconnected with you. I don't feel X, Y, or Z. What can we do about that? How can we work on that? Et cetera, et cetera. Instead, she is taking her relationship with her husband for granted. And by granted, our bond could never be broken. We've known each other for so long. That's not true. You could totally break a bond. Try fucking this guy and see how strong that bond is.
Nick!
She said our bond could never be broken. I'm going to give this our writer-iner the benefit of the doubt and know that she knows the difference between right or wrong. She knows what is okay and what's not okay. But, she's in this situation. Maybe she hasn't, maybe she's been down in her dumps. I don't know what the reasons are. The reasons of maybe she's not feeling as seen by her husband. Maybe he hasn't done anything romantic for her. And maybe they haven't had shared interests.
We're missing the romantic spark and the butterflies that I feel toward my coworker crush. So I feel like, in a way, it does, as we talk about a lot on the show, relationships take work. And the longer you're with each other, you've known each other since you were 12, you were high school sweethearts, you got married, you now have a 1-year-old. I can understand that, suddenly compared to your marriage in which you don't feel a spark, having these feelings is kind of like this is crazy because I'm feeling this toward this coworker crush and I don't feel anything like this toward my husband right now. That's not to say like maybe you didn't feel that at the beginning, but how would you recommend she tries to accomplish the same feeling, that same spark, those same butterflies with her husband? So maybe she's not looking elsewhere, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, it's not till death do you get a crush, or till I don't know how. Like,
until it slightly gets difficult or you have a challenge.
Part. Yeah, until you get a crush, do you part? Like life happens. Yeah, having a kid is stressful. Work can be stressful. Raising kids can be stressful. It's easy for people who have known each other for a long period of time to take each other for granted. They're not the first a young couple that's experienced stuff like that. But to talk about it as if it's an excuse to, tempt yourself and to give in to, make excuses like, oh, you met someone, you have a common interest. Like I mentioned in my book, right? Like trust compatibility over chemistry, because chemistry is hard to rely on. It's hard to count on. It's easy to manufacture. You can manufacture chemistry on a TV show like The Bachelor. Perfect example. Chemistry. She feels chemistry with this guy because they run. Because there's a shared interest. She can talk about new goals and PRs that she set, and he can be like, oh yeah, me too. And they can relate to each other. And she clearly enjoys running and has a passion for it. And this guy gives a shit about her passion, and that creates chemistry. But that can be easily temporary, just because they have a shared mutual interest over running. Maybe it's a temporary hobby for this guy, but also relationships aren't based off of hobbies. Hobbies can come and go. So listen, if you married this guy if you really think if this is your person, and if this is the person you chose to marry and you want to be with, then when shit gets hard, you have to sit each other down and just have some honest conversations. You know, you can't look for outside validation with other people, and stop kidding yourself about putting yourself in compromising situations where, you know, you're in the same room, and just because you're around other people doesn't make it okay for him to flirt with you and for you to like bat your eyes back, you know, just because you're in a group setting.
Yeah.
Or share these little intimate moments and things like that. So, you know, my advice to her is have an honest conversation with her husband about how she's been feeling, what she would like the two of them to do. Hey, I feel disconnected from you. I don't feel like we're sharing those intimate moments. I'd like for us to work on that. How can we do that? Well, again, obviously couples therapy. Sometimes it's having a conversation. Hopefully he hears her and gives a shit, you know? Hopefully she hears, hey, I just haven't been as happy or as motivated and I want to reconnect with you. But the problem with having a crush sometimes is it makes you not want to focus on the relationship that you're in. It makes you want to focus on the crush. So, you know, her energy that's going to be required to help with this problem that she's having with her husband is going towards this crush right now. She's thinking about her crush. She's thinking about running with him. She's, you know, negotiating with herself about her values and what's okay and what's not okay. And she's probably lying to herself about what she's doing and downplaying it and things like that's energy. And that's energy that she could be putting toward this relationship and towards her kids and things like that. Like, no one ever said that marriage was going to, you know, ever have its moments of disconnect. I don't know. There's probably not a married couple on this planet that's been married for, I don't know, 5+ years that haven't experienced, you know, temporary moments of feeling distant from their partner and lost that love and feeling and that chemistry, or maybe they're having less sex and things like that. But the people who care and give a shit, and are committed to each other, figure out a way to make it work, you know? And sometimes you just have to slow things down and just have an honest conversation with each other instead of going running, you know, with your crush.
I feel like every relationship, like long marriage, you always hear we've had our ups and downs, but we've made it work.
Yeah.
There's always going to be conflict. And it also makes me think too, like, you know, relationships over a long period of time, like you kind of have different chapters within them. And as your life changes, sometimes you guys need to like communicate about like priorities, what you're trying to do. If you have a kid, that changes your life dramatically from when you were first dating. So it's like sometimes you have to communicate like you as a couple and the relationship, or like, you know, if you have a different new job, you move somewhere different, like there's different factors. I always feel like you have to like just communicate about those and set expectations and in a positive way.
Yeah. I mean, not every, but there's been many affairs that have started with a story like this, you know? Oh, I just had a crush and we went running and it was innocent, and this isn't going to end in any way good, you know? And so, yeah, it's nice to figure out ways to get that validation or that attention or that love, but you got to get it in healthy places, and you shouldn't be getting it from anyone else. You shouldn't be getting it from people you have crushes on and people you have, you know, thoughts about in ways that you shouldn't have thoughts about, especially when you're in a committed relationship. So that is
Agreed.
yeah. So
We got to start with that honest and open communication with her husband, and hopefully then they can find that spark again, or at least be more on the same page, so she doesn't have to go running with this other man.
there is no such thing as an innocent crush when you're in a committed relationship with someone else. So my biggest advice is stop calling what you're doing innocent. It's not. It's wrong. She knows it. That's why she wrote in. So before it gets worse, before you do something you really regret, set some boundaries for yourself, and then focus on your relationship with your husband. Maybe she gets to a point where maybe she's his husband, expresses all her feelings and frustrations, and he gives her the old, I don't give a shit, tough luck. Well, at that point, maybe she'll have to reconsider her relationship with her husband. But focus on your current situation, deal with your shit, and then if you want out of a relationship, go explore those crushes, go running, have a ball. But don't compromise your character and your values and who you are as a person because you've had some temporary moments of feeling disconnected from your partner. All right. Well, We got some great calls lined up for you and a great week as well. Don't forget to send those questions at AskNick@theViallFiles.com for all things Ask Nick, texting office hours, mediation. You know the drill. Don't forget, we love those mediations. So if you and your partner are struggling, fighting over a common theme, and you're looking for a third-party voice to find out some compromise, this isn't like people's court. We're not picking a winner or a loser. We're trying to bring people together, So let us know if you have one of those stories. Write us in. We have a great week lined up for you. Tomorrow we got reality recap. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about all your favorite reality TV shows, pop culture topics, and more. And on Thursday, we're back on Thursday. The one and only legendary duo, Allie and AJ, are with us. Super excited to have the both of them. You're not going to want to miss that episode, so tune in for that. Until then, let's get to our callers.
Question time with Nick. Let's ask Nick your sexy questions.
How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. What's your name?
I'm Julie. I'm 33.
How can we help Julie?
My male gay best friend is in love with me.
Okay. Like how? Like in love with you how?
So over the past couple of years, he has confessed to our mutual friends that he sees us ending up together, that we would have this amazing life, and he has described these sort of grandiose, in my opinion, delusions of how perfect we are together. And he doesn't know that I know, but of course my friends have told me what he has said to them.
So he's never confessed this to you?
No, I would have no idea if they hadn't told me.
Gotcha.
So I've just been pretending that I don't know, because for the most part, I can't tell. It doesn't really make a difference to me. And the first time that my friend told me about this was like 2 years ago, and he confessed to her that he thinks that we're, perfect for each other. And I was just like, wow, that sounds like he's having a midlife crisis or too drunk or something, So I was like, whatever, that'll work itself out.
Was he drinking when he confessed this?
I think there is alcohol involved when he confesses to my friend.
Gotcha. And how is he with you? Like you said,
totally normal.
Totally normal. So you truly would have no indication. And is your friend gay, bisexual? Like, do you have any idea if he's had experience with women? Does he?
Yes. He grew up in a small town in Oklahoma and has a lot of trauma with being gay. He's experienced hate crimes. And I know that he has tried to date a woman in the past, and then he was with a man for 12 years or something.
Uh-huh.
And he hasn't dated much at all since then. And he has told me, I think maybe a year ago or so, that he thinks he might be bi now. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's your journey. But it's my opinion that he doesn't want to be gay, and that he's just like comfortable with me and has turned it into this like enamored idea of what things could be.
Sure. So it's almost like from your end, it seems like he's experienced some challenging times from his upbringing, his family, his community. You're assuming that he might think it just might be easier if he was in a relationship with a woman and would feel more accepted socially.
Yeah.
And by his family and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible. I mean, but I guess, with you not knowing, I don't know if there's anything for you to do. You add in the variable that you think alcohol's been involved and he's made these confessions to your friends. and around you, it'd be one thing if you're like, listen, he's never confessed it to me, but he's always like hinting at things or making kind of passive comments and saying things that don't make sense, but he's never done that with you. So I'm not sure what you're supposed to do, you know? Like, hey, by the way, I heard when you were drunk that you think we'd be perfect together, and I'm just here to tell you I think you're delusional.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, and I don't want to do that because he's, such a sensitive soul.
Yeah.
Where normally I can be a little confrontational, with if I were to have a straight guy friend or coworker, I'm very firm with my boundaries and whatnot.
Do you ever talk to him about his love life?
Yeah, he doesn't date at all. And just what made me write in was just a couple of weeks ago where I thought he had really moved on from this little crush idea, but he again told a different friend and basically told her that he's waiting for me to kind of get tired of hinge dating and whatnot, and that one day I'm going to look up and realize what's right in front of me. And so he's playing the long game is his master plan. And this just makes me uncomfortable just because we all know that he kind of has this underlying motive.
I hear you, but is it I guess, I mean,
I don't know what I should, if anything, because the last 2 years I have chosen to do nothing. It's just my friendships are so authentic, and I feel like this has a lot of murkiness.
No, it does. And I can appreciate what it might feel like to feel like you have, things unsettled or unsaid between someone you consider to be a dear friend. And it sounds like your friendships, like you said, you appreciate kind of this open communication and authenticity. And, you can tell me things, I can tell you things, even if those things are difficult and challenging. But this is really testing that, obviously. But I don't think he's really going to, you're not at risk of anything other than a little discomfort, right? And he can sit around and wait all he wants. It's not, to me, when you're saying that, I feel sorry for him. I feel bad. It's clearly this is someone who's struggled with his personal life. It's carried into his adult life. He's having a hard time making meaningful connections, probably still dealing with a lot of the trauma he's experienced from his childhood. Do you know if he's in therapy dealing with stuff like this, or is he kind of white knuckling it?
Not in therapy. Yeah.
So he's just sounds like maybe he's just drinking his sorrows away. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
That all being said, eventually you're going to meet someone and he's going to realize that his delusion is just that, because right now you're out there, you're dating, and like I'm sure everyone else, dating is challenging and hard, and you've had more failures than successes because that's literally what dating is. Everyone has more dating failures than successes, and over time it can feel frustrating, and you vent to your friends. Here he is listening in and being like, yeah, she's just I'm a good guy. Fuck it. I don't know. I mean, I've not I can't compare anything like this, but I think we've all had moments in our lives where we weren't particularly happy with our current situation, whatever that situation was. And then when we do that, it's very easy for us to convince ourselves of solutions that we think would make us happy. And I think we can be very convincing to ourselves when we're unhappy with our current situations. And so we can come up with very creative ways for us to get ourselves out of these ruts. And some of those creative ways to other people, I think, can sound like delusion just because we're so convinced. I just think he's just going to have to get out of this rut. But I just don't know if there's something you could do. I mean, the only alternative is you can sit down, if you appreciate, this authenticity, in your friendships, I guess that you could say to him, it's just like, hey, can we talk? And I just want to address something. And, you know, this has happened a couple times. I heard from so-and-so. I mean, maybe get your friend's permission to like kind of, hey, I need to talk to Jeff about this or whoever, whatever his name is. But, and to say, hey, listen, like, I don't know where this is coming from, but I just want to talk to you about it. You could do that, you know, but
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel like that's going to go.
Sounds like it would make it all even more awkward. And I also don't want to like cause any division within the friend group. My theory, you know, is that crushes don't last forever. You know, I've had 1,000 of them and I no longer care for any of them. But so like, I feel like if he just knows that it is never going to happen, that it will help him like move on.
Do you really think this is a crush that he has to move on from? Or is it more of a, like I kind of was just describing, he's in a tough spot personally inside. And this is him thinking of like the best, I you know, I don't know what it's like to be in his shoes, but it can make sense to me that this person who has given up on love for himself, has given up on dating, feels very confused inside, maybe not confused about his sexuality, but just confused about what, you know, about how the world sees him and accepts him, has decided that like, you know what, a life with her, I get along with her, she's fun, I think she's a beautiful person, like, fuck, you know, I've gone this long without having a sexual relationship or a physical intimacy. You know, I guarantee you, he's not thinking about your needs in this fantasy of his. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's thinking, oh, we get along, it'll be fun, I'll be good to her, I'll be kind to her, I'll do all this. He's not thinking about like your emotional and sexual needs and things like this. You know, he's clearly in a bad spot right now, and when we're in a bad spot, we tend to be very selfish, you know, because we it's like fight or flight, and we feel like we're in this survival mode, and he is trying to survive almost quite literally, and so he's really only thinking about his needs. I wonder if maybe an approach of just, I would maybe be more encouraging to him about his love life, ask him more questions about his love life, and see where that goes, rather than
we've tried to like make him online profiles and get him on the app to do anything, and he just refuses. To him, it's not worth the trauma and rejection.
Okay.
How do you feel when you hang out with him? Like, do you feel like since you have learned that he has this crush on you or this fantasy of ending up with you, that you're holding back in a way? Do you feel awkward or uncomfortable when you're with your friend group? Because then that's something that we need to address as well.
Well, like we used to hang out one-on-one. We would go kayaking together, and I never felt anything weird. Like he would at least like kind of compare, like, oh, is that guy you're dating, does he take you any cool places like this, like kayaking or whatever? And so he compares himself a little bit to like whoever I'm dating. But like that, I say the picture because it was the day after he had again confessed to one of my friends that we went to the botanical gardens and to take a picture together. And normally with a friend, I would like give him a hug for a picture or whatever, but I'm just like standing there so stiff and awkward, like not wanting to even, you know, give him a side hug or whatever, just because I feel like it's gonna fuel his
because it's
ideas.
So oftentimes I feel like as women we get the remark of, oh, well, you let him on and you were a tease, and how is he not supposed to fantasize about ending up with you, and you would treat him like this?
But is that what this is?
No,
you know, because this is not a straight guy who's.
But if he's bisexual, he said he might be bisexual.
Yeah, I mean, I have, but I'm getting the impression. Do you? I mean, I guess it's not for us to believe or not believe, but this is it. Is that? Do you think him saying he's bisexual has more to do with you in this fantasy of ending up with you, or?
I don't think it's me in particular. I think it's just that he probably doesn't want to be gay and does have maybe some attraction to women.
And I feel like it's hard to speculate on this just because it's like, what, like, you know, of course, it's like nobody ever wants to like speculate on someone's sexuality. And then also, you know, when you like aren't like don't know a person directly. So not to kind of bring too many other perspectives into the mix, but like when you're friends, because you were saying it's like a friend group where it's like these two other girls and then this guy and you, and he's told both of them that he has feelings for you. Like, what have they said about it? Like, have they kind of had like a perspective on it, or like have they had kind of assumptions as being kind of the ones in the room who heard the news firsthand and like the way he might have articulated it?
They just said that they're kind of like shocked by how enamored he is with me, because he doesn't talk about it all the time, but then he'll just like sort of erupt and like gush to them about how much he admires me and wants to be with me and yada yada. And I did tell one of my friends that I wonder if he just like doesn't want to be gay so badly that he's sort of invented this fantasy. And she said that that's very much a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, based on what you're saying, I could see that to be possible. I mean, there's plenty of...
Do you think I should just do nothing?
No, not necessarily. I'm not seeing an answer that isn't going to create some waves. One option is you can kind of do nothing and ride it out, and that's solely going to be based off of your comfort level. I just as an overall, like, you're describing someone who seems pretty troubled internally, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's important not to abandon our friends when they're troubled, but at the same time, you know, like, you guys as a friend group are going to have to decide, like, what is our responsibility and roles as friends? Do we just like let our friend kind of lead this kind of self-destructive lifestyle that's kind of given up on himself when it comes to love and things like that? You know, he's not investing in any type of mental health or things like, you know, he's drinking and, you know, he's kind of saying some things that are confusing to the rest of the group. You know, I don't know if this has required some sort of intervention, but your friend is not, it sounds like he's on a path of just not leading himself to happiness, you know, and he's going to have to make some significant changes in his life if he wants to be happy. It's not your job, it's not your responsibility, but I guess as friends, you can all kind of collectively ask yourselves, like, what should we do about this? I don't think this is like a you problem because he has a crush on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, he hasn't even told you. He's told other people, you know? So if this friend group is so close and cares about each other, like, I wonder if that's a conversation of the friend group to less about like the crush and more about just him, you know? How can you guys support him? Sounds like you've certainly tried, but, you know, it's, you know, he is struggling. So at some point, you know, there might need to be some like just gentle and empathetic but direct truths that you might need to communicate with him. You can't just keep looking the other way while he's leaving this self-destructive lifestyle. You know, you guys aren't at risk. It doesn't sound like he's the only one at risk. So I think sometimes as friends, we struggle with like, is it my responsibility? Should I say something? Should I not? Especially knowing that if you do say something, you're going to be made to be the bad guy, but most likely by the friend, at least at first. You know, that's always a tough spot when you're like, your friend is acting a certain way. Not saying anything is definitely an option. I hear you that. And honestly, that's going to be the easiest option probably for you because he hasn't yet to address it. You can just do your thing, keep dating. If you don't address it with him directly, I would never complain to him about your dating life. I would only, you know what I'm saying? I would never complain. He is not the friend you go to gripe about a bad date or gripe about a guy. If you meet a guy, you know what I'm saying? That's not him, you know, especially not any longer. I would ask your friends to be very careful about how they speak to him about your dating life, right? It's always positive. right now you are single and thriving. That's the energy he needs to, you know what I'm saying? So like, if you don't talk to him directly, you need to give off this impression that your singleness is a choice and you're happy and you're thriving and dating is fun and it's a venture. And if nothing else, be the role model to him about what dating can be like. We all know it's a struggle. We all know it's difficult, but like at the end of the day, the better attitude you bring a challenging situation, the better it's going to be for you. It just is. And that would be just like a small thing you can do so that this kind of delusion about ending up with you, because right now he's just banking on the fact that dating's a challenge. There's a lot of shitty guys out there, and eventually you're just going to be like, fuck this. I got this like friend who's like, it could give me a pretty good life. And, he probably believes that because deep down it sounds like he's a good guy who's just got some internal, demons. So you got to make it very clear to your friends and to him that your dating life is nothing but a positive thing, and then when you meet a guy, talk positively, talk with excitement, maybe that will help him realize that you're not looking to end up with him. That would be a more passive, indirect approach to like, letting him know that a life with you is not something he should bank on. And then addressing it. I don't know if this is something that's your responsibility. I feel like you should go to the group and say, what should we do about this? Our friend's struggling here. We want him to find love. We want him, he needs help. He's drinking, he's abusing alcohol a little bit. He's clearly struggling. He's not doing any type of therapy. Like, he's talking about marrying me, like, I don't think it's your responsibility because he's targeted you as the crush, Okay. And I hope that your friends would agree that it's not your responsibility to address this with him. If you're talking about, hey, I don't want him to ruin the group, I feel like this is a friend group situation, and you just have to bring the love and empathy with him, Yeah. I know it's not the most direct answer, but it's like, the way you're describing it, I think, it's either just ignore it and kind of hopefully it plays out, or at some point, the friend group is going to have, I guess, some sort of intervention about, hey, man, like, we love you, but we're just seeing you with these unhealthy patterns. And even if they do that, I don't know if you need it, like, his crush on you really is a side effect of all the things that that's going on inside of him,
Okay, yeah.
Right?
That makes sense, yeah.
It's not like the big problem is he's got this crush on you. That's the confusing outcome of all the other things that you said about his childhood and his trauma and his drinking and him just kind of giving up on dating because he just, fuck it, I don't want to feel rejected, and he's got to find himself. Have you guys ever like taken him to a gay bar?
Yeah, we have. He just like is so uncomfortable no matter what, if we're at a regular bar or gay bar and he sees me flirting with guys or guys giving me attention, he will then go and kind of sulk in the corner and get irritated and want to go home after that.
Do you respond at all?
No.
Good.
No.
Good.
I just
kind of ignore it.
I don't.
Okay, good.
No.
What is like, how do I ask this question? Like, what does he look like? Is he good looking? Is he struggling with his like self? I'm just wondering, is he, like, could he be investing in himself?
I'm not attracted to him at all. He's also like 15 years older than me.
He's in his mid 40s?
This is so similar to what I'm going through. It's insane.
Yeah, but he's not gay.
I know, but it's just like it keeps getting better. Julie, we'll get through this together.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's in his mid 40s and he's still kind of has given up on himself in a way.
I mean, every other aspect of his life, like he's very successful.
Okay.
But it's just his love life where he just refuses to engage. So maybe just me encouraging him to date more. I've done it in the past and he just blocks the idea so hard that I didn't push it.
At some point, some tough love needs to happen from the group. It's just like, you almost have to be like, hey man, like, you gotta get out there or not, but you can't complain to us about your love life if you're not going to be proactive. And if he wants to be like, oh, it's, you know, like we all, and then you could say like, we've all struggled with our love life. And, you know, then, you know, and if he brings up, well, you don't know what it's like to be me and, you know, my childhood. And you could be like, yeah, I don't, you know, but we've all had our struggles. But if yours is that challenging, then why aren't, you know, what are you doing? You know, again, that's where an opportunity to bring up therapy. You know, if someone wants to complain about how difficult life has been and, you know, how the world's not fair and they've had to deal with X, Y, or Z, yeah, it's, you don't, they don't try to kind of compare or, you know, tell them about your struggle, but that is an opportunity, especially if they're not investing in their mental health, to say, well, there are things you can do about it, but complaining to me isn't going to help. You know, like, what are you going to do?
Yeah. He doesn't really complain about it. He just rejects the whole idea of dating.
I think maybe then you guys have to just, I almost feel like maybe you guys just have to stop catering to him in that sense. Like, I think your friends need to stop asking him about his love life then. And then when he sulks about that, you can, and you say, well, because you didn't want, you rejected all our ideas, you know? And it's just like, what did you want us to do? And I do, like, also, by the way, what are your friends saying to him when he's saying this stuff?
I don't know.
Yeah, you should ask them.
I know they don't play into it. I think they just kind of sit there and listen like, what the fuck?
I think maybe someone needs to say something.
That was my idea.
Like, if I were in this friend group, I would be like, bro, stop it.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. That's what I would do. If he was saying this to me about one of our other friends, I'd just be like, get that out of your head. Like, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
I think you needed to have a conversation with your friends about this and say, listen, like, this has made me feel uncomfortable. Like, if this happens again, can you make it clear to him that that's not an option? And also, they need to say, like, listen, stop telling us this. If you want to tell anyone, he should tell you. You know, they should make him tell you. I mean, I know that's going to be kind of uncomfy, but at least that will, like, clear the air and you're not awkwardly, like, addressing to him and he's just like, what are you talking about, and playing dumb, you know? But before they say, hey, go, you know, talk to Julie, they should make it clear to him that that's not an option. And not only is it not an option, but it kind of makes us all uncomfortable. If you want to date women, Julie's not an option. You know, she's your friend. And don't violate this friendship by, you know, making kind of uncomfortable remarks and, you know, acting differently when she's out there flirting and dating. Like, you're her friend. Because now he's not acting like a friend. He's acting like this weird kind of guy. So the friend group needs to help you hold him accountable. Because if he's part of this friend group, he's affecting the dynamic. He's making other people uncomfortable, and he might be a sensitive soul. But, like, you don't get to, like, manipulate a bunch of people by being this whole, like, oh, I might cry, you know, I might get my feelings hurt, you know, like, that's this manipulation at some point, you know?
Yeah.
So.
All right. I will have a chat with the girls.
Yeah. Chat with the girls. I'm sorry we're not more helpful. This is definitely one of those stickier situations just with his.
Yeah.
Because I feel like therapy,
it clearly needs to get therapy.
Like, therapy, I think, is the answer here.
I don't think you can do anything. I don't think you can do anything wrong here. I don't think there's any wrong answer to how you want to deal with it. And I guess that's my biggest takeaway is it's an uncomfortable situation. You want to handle it with grace and empathy. You don't want to hurt his feelings. You don't want to fuck up the friend group. I get all that. But at the end of the day, some friend groups evolve, they change, they don't last a lifetime. I hope this one does, but at the end of the day, you just have to address the situation however you think is the most comfortable. And that makes you feel the most safe and emotionally okay, even at the risk of upsetting the friend group. Because if your friend group in any way gets upset with you for how you handle this, short of you being unnecessarily mean to the guy, which you're not going to do, then they're not being good friends to you, you know? And, you know,
agree. Yeah.
Again, depending on what you think about friendships, a lot of friendships are solely based off of convenience and fun people to hang out with. But some friends, as we get older, friendships are more based off of being there for you in difficult times, the ability to have tough conversations, to address a challenge, you know?
And that's really what I've found in these two girls. And so I just really love our friendship and just the authenticity and the transparency between the three girls.
So talk to them and just say, hey, I need your help. I need your help, girls. Like, this is making me feel uncomfortable. I don't want to keep stressing on this. How do we handle this? Ask for their advice. What do you think? But it should be like the three of you, if it sounds like there's two other women, you could come together and this is not a you problem. This is a group problem.
Okay.
And go from there.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Keep us posted. Dying to know where this goes.
Me too. Okay. Thanks for your time. Have a good day, guys.
Our pleasure. If he ever wants to come on with you, if it ever gets, we'll love to talk to him.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Therapy is super important for your mental health. And if you have ever thought about therapy, you got to look at BetterHelp because they are making it so much easier for people to get over that hurdle to jump into therapy because it can be intimidating. It can be challenging. Finding the right therapist can be a daunting, task, or at least it feels like that. But with BetterHelp, they literally work with thousands of therapists. So matching with a therapist that fits your needs and your personality that you feel comfortable with is greatly increased with BetterHelp.
I started BetterHelp therapy recently. And 10 out of 10 would recommend. I love my therapist. She's given me little nuggets of wisdom, such as
we love.
Planning for the future is chronological, but worrying about the future is psychological. And there's no reason to worry about the future.
That's smart. Easier said than done, I know. But it's those great reminders. How is the process about signing up for BetterHelp?
Super easy. I just took like a little online quiz. I talked about things I was looking for. You can put in, different preferences of people you'd like to work with, but they match you with someone super, super quickly. I think I was matched within 24 hours, maybe even closer to 12. And then you can message them online. You can book sessions with them. You can see their availability. You can do phone, you can do video. So really a ton of options to get the help you need.
Find your bright spot this season with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/VIALL today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/VIALL. When it comes to writing, Grammarly is there to support you from start to finish. Maybe you're just not a poet or, an author or a Nobel literate
Pulitzer.
Pulitzer.
Maybe
if you're not a Pulitzer like myself. And if you're a manager or a small business owner of any kind, you got to check out Grammarly because help yourself and help the people that work for you by helping them become more efficient when it comes to writing emails and sending messages to not only within your organizations, but out to your organization. Let Grammarly save your day because they have amazing tools to help you check your tone, check your grammar, write more efficient emails, take out some of those unnecessary words and extra words, sound more professional, more precise, more direct.
Also, I feel like Grammarly, definitely when you think about it, you only think about the typos and finding little punctuation marks, which I will say Nick's emails have vastly improved since we started using Grammarly. But they also have features to help you if you feel stuck in your writing or going through your inbox, which sometimes can feel really daunting, and it'll help generate responses for you. So them being able to utilize AI and kind of come up with all these other features not only helps streamline your writing, but it can help you get started writing. It can help you polish up your writing, and it can help you with just day-to-day tasks at home and around the office.
Go to Grammarly.com/podcast to download for free today. That's GRAMMARLY.com/podcast. Grammarly.com/podcast. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
My name's Melissa, and I'm 25.
How can we help, Melissa?
My boyfriend's business is ruining my relationship.
Okay. Is he the owner of this business? Yes. Okay, he is.
Yep.
Okay. How old is the business?
Right now, probably almost a year and a half.
Okay, so young, yeah. How long have you guys been together?
2 years.
Okay. How old is he?
25 as well.
Okay. What's the business?
Construction.
Okay. Well, tell us about some of the challenges that you're facing.
So I just feel like with the business, so we both still live at home with our parents, which is also adding to it. But I feel like I'll never be number one priority. That's kind of like the realization at this 2-year mark that I'm coming to, is like, I'm worried I'll never be number one, and it'll always be about the business. So that concerns me. He doesn't really like to talk about the future. I mean, I've seen from you before, I think it was one of your like Sunday like questions with Nick, or, you know, like how can I help, whatever. And you said timelines are fair, exact dates are not. And I've told him, like, you know, what is your timeline for future, like, you know, engagement, kids, like, where do you even like stand with that? And I just get the answer of, I can't even think about that right now. There's so much other stuff going on. Like, that's not even really on his radar. So that's concerning to me, because I'm like, okay, we're 2 years in. What am I doing here? Because I don't have a job where I like go home and think about it. Like, I go to my job, I come home, and like, that's it, the end of the day. And I just feel like has a ton of goals, which is fine. Like, I want him to succeed in all of that, and I want to support him, but I feel like I have not this, I don't want to say, I have this resentment like towards his business, because it's just taking up all his time. And I'm like, where do I fit in?
Yeah. Well, that's going to be your biggest struggle right now, because I can empathize with him, the immense stress of
Right.
being your own boss and starting a business. And it's just like, feels like every day, all you're doing is putting out fires. You know,
Yeah,
you're just making
exactly.
decisions.
Yep.
So I can empathize with that. Your problem, I can empathize with you, is that, and it's tough. You're in a tough situation because you're both young, from my point of view. 25, young. Especially in 2023, people in at 25, our culture tells us we don't have to think about marriage anymore. Like, you know, kind of wait till you're 30. So you're sitting here being like, okay, well, what am I? You know, I'm guessing you wouldn't feel this way if he somehow made it clear to you that everything he's doing is for the both of you.
Right. And I've told him that. I said it'd be different if we were having conversations, and the conversation was, you know, I'm doing this for us, and I'm doing this for our future kids and our future life together. But the conversations aren't that tone.
Yeah. Because like I work really hard, and I'm, you know, there have been times where I'm gone 13 hours a day often, you know, and like at time, you know, it's just a big priority for me to either check in with Natalie or include her or bring her along when I can, if it makes sense. And then if nothing else, it's always, this is for us, you know, this is an us thing, you know?
Yeah.
And that goes a long fucking way.
Right. Because I don't feel like I have the reassurance that you'd even see us together long term.
Okay. On the flip side, you are only 25. So there is that. But so I guess I'm thinking out loud here, but it's not, regardless of your age, it's not fair to you to be in a 2-year relationship with zero answers about what the future looks like.
Right. And I'm not asking for an engagement tomorrow or anything like that. Like, there's no pressure on that. I just want to know where his head at. And I feel like he's really unwilling to even like think about that part of life, because he's so business oriented right now. It's like a horse with blinders on. Like, it's just the business and like nothing else. And I think it also doesn't help that we live an hour away from each other. We both live at our parents'. So I think it's hard when we only hang out on the weekends, and then say like Sunday comes along and he's like, okay, like I got to go to the office and I got to do X, Y, and Z. And like during the week, you know, he's waking up early, which is fine. But then like we don't talk until, I want to say like 7, 8 p.m. And then like he's going to bed at like 9:30 because he gets up so early.
So there's no, and then why don't you guys live in the same neighborhood? Like, why do you still live with your parents? I'm not saying that judgmentally, but like, that is a choice you're making at 25.
Yeah, I think neither of us want to rent, because we just feel like at this point that'd be like throwing away money. He actually just recently bought a rental house through the business. And I think for me, I have a lot of resentment towards that because I'm like, you could have used that opportunity for us. You could have, bought a different house, that we could have afforded together, and made it easier on that. And then you could have done your, your business rental houses after that. So I feel like I just harbor a lot of, like, I'm getting to the point where I'm like not feeling supportive anymore. Where I'm just like, why couldn't you have done that for us?
Well, what are you getting out of this relationship? Like, why are you?
That's what I ask myself.
But what were you getting out of it? I guess when it started, at some point, you've been in this relationship for 2 years.
Right.
That's a decent amount of time. But like, what has,
Right.
What was it in the beginning? Yeah.
So he was in school long distance for like probably the first 9 months of dating. So like that was fun. And I got to go visit him and, I got to like play house in his, apartment at school. And then I guess I thought when he came home, like things would be different and we would end up like moving in together. But then the conversations just switched. I think, I don't know. I mean, he's a great guy. I mean, I love that he's driven and I love like that side about him. And I think that I feel safe and I feel comfortable and I do feel loved by him. But a lot of the times I'm like, I just don't know if he's showing me in the ways that I need like forever. So I think that's also been something I've been struggling with.
When you communicate this stuff to him, how does he respond? Is it always some version of, I don't have time for this right now?
He's like, I don't really know what you want me to say. That's normally it. Like he just like,
well, that's saying a
like,
lot.
To me, it's like, yeah,
there's a million
like,
things you could say. You could say,
comfort me.
Yeah, you could say, babe, you're right. I know. Like, if nothing else, a bare minimum answer from him would be some version of, you're right, babe. I know. I need, like, it's valid for you to feel this way. I'm just really busy. I'm having a hard time managing, all the things that are going on with the business. But like, I do want, I love you, and it's important for me to make you feel a certain way, and I want you to feel X, Y, and Z, and I'm sorry I'm letting you down right now, and can you just be a little more patient with me? Like, that would be bare minimum.
Right.
And those would just be promises without any follow through. But when
I'd be okay with that.
That would be bare minimum. You're not getting bare minimum. And so you need to address that with him.
Yeah.
You can say all this to him. Listen, I love you. I want to support you. I want to be the supportive girlfriend, hopefully future fiance and wife. But like right now, the only thing I have is a weekend boyfriend who really constantly always makes me feel like he doesn't have time for me, gives me no insight, zero, into like what a future looks like for us. Right now, it sounds like he only wants to have a girlfriend for the occasional, sex and convenience because he doesn't want to like get on the apps.
Right. Which I think about, I'm like, if we even, like, to myself, I think this, I'm like, if we even broke up, like, he wouldn't even, like, I know he wouldn't make the time to date somebody else. I mean, there
probably
just
not.
Be no way.
Yeah, he probably would, and if it would just be very casual. It would be very meaningless, and it would just be something to do in the little bit of free time he has. But yes,
right.
It's not that he's busy is the problem. It's not that it's just that he's giving you literally nothing to go on.
Right.
That's not, a relationship can't work that way. It just can't.
No. And like, I've asked him before, I'm like, well, like, when we've had conversations and he's kind of like silent or awkward, doesn't know what to say. I'm like, well, do you even want like kids and to get married? Because I don't know, some people who have, a business and their career, like that's all they want to focus on for their life. And that's fine. But like, let me know that. And he's like, of course I want to get married. And like, of course I want kids. But it's like, then I don't know why you don't like think about that.
It's not that I get why he doesn't think about it. He's 25. He's starting a business.
Okay.
I get that it's not like on his, that he doesn't need to sit down and talk to you about that. I get where he's coming from, but where I don't get where he's coming from is the fact that he's giving you nothing, that he's not saying, because he could say, listen, of course I want kids. You know, of course I want to get married, but we're only 25. And right now, like, I really want to like be successful. And at 25, for someone who's very career driven, this is the time for him to be selfish and to invest in his career. And so, you know, I get that. And if he wants to be in a relationship while all at the same time selfishly focusing on his career, he still needs to like make some concessions and some choices. So again, at a bare minimum, he could be like, you know, obviously I want to have kids. I see a future with you. I'm not ready to get married anytime soon. I want to be upfront about that. But at the same time, I want you to feel like a priority. And I know at times I'm probably going to let you down, but I really want to. It is a priority for me to make you feel this way. And what can we do? He can't 100% of the time just say he's too busy with you for you and give you absolutely nothing when it comes to talking about the future. You know, if you were in my shoes, and this was like a business decision in a way, because, you know, marriage in some ways is a business decision, you could argue. And while, you know, having kids with the right person is an important decision, maybe not a business one, but all his decisions feel important to him.
Right.
So you could be like, hey, you make a lot of important decisions when it comes to starting your business, right? And getting married and having kids are important decisions. So if you were me, and I know that I want to have kids, I'm 100% about it. I know that I want to get married, and I know I want a relationship that is mutual and we prioritize each other. I know I want that. Right. That I'm certain about that. And if you were me, knowing what I want, what would you do with the information you're providing to me as a business owner? Like, what would you say?
Right.
You know, would you invest in that person? Because you're asking me to invest in you by staying in this relationship, and I'm getting nothing in return. You're telling me to cross my fingers and hope for the best.
Exactly. I think that's the biggest thing is like, you're not like, I don't know. Yeah. It's just like, I don't know anything about, like, I'm trying to plan mine, which obviously I can't plan it right now either, but like to have an idea and just like open up those conversations. And there's just nothing.
I honestly think the only way to save this, honestly, is probably to break up with him and see if it's a shock to his system. Okay. I think before you do that, maybe you got to write him a letter or sit down with him and really articulate how you feel. You have to stay super calm about it and just kind of like, hey, listen, man, I care about you. I love you. I want to see you happy. I know I understand that right now at this point in your life that your business is your number one priority. I get all that, but you are asking me to stay in this relationship with absolutely no guarantees, no information, nothing. And that's just not fair to me. And if you can't give me that, I understand. But if that's where you're at, I can't be in this relationship. And I just, you know, you can't ask me to invest in you and get nothing in return.
Yeah.
And see what he says.
Yeah, that's where my head has kind of like been circling around. But I just wanted to.
I think most young men in his position, he's gonna have to think he lost you before he really thinks about how much you mean to him. He's taking you for granted right now. Okay. It's that simple.
Yeah.
He's not trying to. He probably feels, you know, again, he's probably so overwhelmed with this. And quite honestly, maybe the answer is he's not in a position to be a boyfriend right now.
Right.
As nice as he is and as nice as your relationship is, you know, there's a lot of positives. He has decided to be a business owner. I commend him for that. It takes a lot of work. And he's dedicated to that. And at 25 years old, maybe he's just not in a position to be the partner you require. And you have to show him that you are capable of living without him and making a shrewd business decision in a way, you know? Because he has to make shrewd business decisions for his business. He's going to respect that. Might scare the shit out of him, but he needs to believe that you're capable of being fine without him if he's not willing to step up and give you what you need, because he is assuming you're just going to sit around. It's kind of a game of chicken right now.
Yeah.
And he's just too bogged down with his other shit to really consider this or think about this.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like he's Machiavellian and looking in the mirror and being like, I'm just taking her for granted.
Not at all.
He's not
and it's
doing
like
that.
I've even like brought it up, and he's like, that's what he thinks. He's like, we don't have problems. Like, you're just overthinking it all. And I'm like, well, it's not a problem to you.
That's so
because you get to,
dismissive. Yeah, it's so dismissive.
Right. And I'm like, you get to kind of like have your cake and eat it too, because you get to have this business that you love and that you're really into. And then like, you also get to have this like accommodating girlfriend who has been okay with it up until, recently, who's been okay with just hanging out on the weekends and like talking just a little bit throughout the day. And I'm just not really okay with that anymore. So,
and it's not even that. It's more just the, like, for what? Why am I in this relationship getting minimal attention, minimal prioritization? For what? You don't give me anything. Yeah. You might break up with me in 6 months. You don't even know. You're literally telling me that you don't know if you want to marry me. You don't know. Right. And I respect. I don't want you to lie to me, but you are asking me to make a huge decision for myself with no information, and you want me to invest how long? 2, 3, 4, 5 years into you and hope, because you refuse. Your answer to all my questions is, I don't know what to tell you. Mm-hmm. And you dismiss my feelings by saying we don't have problems. I'm not happy.
Right.
So what are you going to do about it? Is he telling you don't have the right to feel happy or sad or lonely
or lonely or feel?
Yeah. So I think you have to be very clear about how you feel.
Okay.
You have to remain calm when you do it, and just kind of be very matter of fact. Don't argue with him about your feelings.
Right.
This is how I feel. I don't know what else you want me to say. That's how I feel. And I also don't, if this is all you can share with me, if this is all you're capable of giving me, that's what I'm saying. It's like, instead of being like, I want you to do more, why can't you do this? Just say, you know what? You're not capable of giving me what I need. Just tell him.
Right.
Based on everything you told me, you don't have time for me. You don't have time for us. You don't even have time to think about a future. Literally, you've told me that.
Right.
So I don't think you're capable of being in a relationship with me. And that makes me so sad, because I love you. And all I want to be the supportive girlfriend who helps you, with this business. I want to build something with you, but you just want to build something by yourself and, and have me be in the maybe pile, I'm your girlfriend while simultaneously being made to feel like a possibility of the future, an option. I think write a letter, whether you send it or not, but like it helps you articulate your feelings, and just be very matter of fact about what your feelings are, but you don't have to try to argue with him about those feelings. And then point out to him that you don't think he's in a position to give you what you need, because you've tried. And maybe as sad as it makes you, that you're just going to have to walk away. And and then when he does, and then you kind of walk away, and then you kind of disappear on him. Mm-hmm. That if you break, you can't do like a fake breakup. You got to do a real breakup.
Okay.
This isn't like a breakup, to hope he comes around. I mean, I know that's kind of what we're discussing, but I think you really need to, because the worst thing you could do, oh my God, the worst thing you could do is break up with him, and he's a little sad or whatever, and then he puts in truly a minimal effort and kind of says like, fine, I want to marry you someday or something like that. But he's like, you know what, maybe you're right. Maybe we just don't have time. But then you're bored and lonely, and then you drive there every other weekend, you have some sex, and then your relationship turns into a situationship. Oh my God.
Right.
And that could absolutely happen. And it's gonna happen if he's gonna welcome that possibility with open arms.
Oh yeah, because it's his dream.
Then all of a sudden, he can literally be like,
just work during the day and
then
have
he
sex
doesn't
at
have
night.
to bother. He doesn't be bothered with your questions about a relationship or whatever. So
he's gonna have to worry about anything else.
So if you break up with him, you got to break up with him. And the point about breaking up with someone is removing access. So many people in relationships, when they break up, they still give that person access to them.
Right.
It's like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, right.
Now I don't have to.
Like, what was the point of that?
Yeah, now you don't have to tell me like, well, you're not being a good boyfriend. You're right. We're not dating.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So But my gut tells me you're going to have to do that, and you're going to have to get on the apps and start dating, and he's going to have to really believe that he lost you, and he's going to have to fight for you to have you back in his life, and you're going to have to really believe it. And as busy as he is, there's a way for him to make it work with you if he really wanted to.
Right.
And he might just, the only excuse I will give him is that maybe he's just, he is trying to accomplish a lot at a young age, and it might just be too much for him,
Yeah.
And it's not a fault. I'm not judging him, but he needs to recognize that he is falling short as a partner. That he should want to be a better partner in the future, because that's the biggest red flag too. If he really doesn't see a problem with how he's acting, even when he gets less busy, you're not going to, he thinks this is acceptable behavior for a partner, and it's not.
And it's not. Yeah.
So even if he was making, little promises, like, the point is he thinks that making you a priority is a priority.
Right.
So
he's like, that's at the bottom of the list.
So he needs a wake up call.
Okay.
And maybe he won't come around, but he might be a really good guy that you have a connection with, and you had a good thing, but he still might not be your guy,
Okay. Yeah.
Everything's on the table.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much.
No problem. Sorry, I went and give you a more positive answer, but
no, that's okay.
It also wouldn't shock me that he has a reaction that you want. Whether that lasts, whether that's sustainable, remains to be seen. But he doesn't want to break up with you. He wants to have you in his life. He just wants you having his life on his terms, and you need to kind of redefine those terms, and he needs to believe that you have the power and the strength and the conviction to hold him accountable.
Okay.
He's banking on the fact that you won't do that.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Good luck.
I'm going to do it. Thank you so much.
Keep us posted for sure.
Okay, I will.
All right. Take care.
All right. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
So I am planning a holiday trip to New York. I love to see all my friends in New York, and there's nothing we love to do more than go and see a show. But we don't also have a ton of money. We don't like to overspend on going to see shows. There's a lot we want to do while we're in New York. So we love using TodayTix because not only can you get tickets last minute and get really good deals, you can also still plan ahead and get those same good deals. Because if you're planning a trip to a city like New York, you don't want to waste your entire day waiting in line, trying to find those tickets. You can plan ahead, you can get them last minute, and you're still getting a really, really good deal on the shows you want to see. And then your trip is just exponentially better.
TodayTix is your ticket to entertainment. Get great deals on theater tickets with savings up to 40% off. It's not just for Broadway shows. TodayTix has great deals on so many other great shows, theme parks, museums, and more. So check it out. Download the app or visit TodayTix.com. Check out online or in the app to get your tickets sent right to your phone. See that show you've always wanted to see, or discover something new that you'll love just as much for even less. Go to TodayTix.com/Nick Viall and use promo code Nick Viall to get $20 off your first TodayTix purchase. That's promo code Nick Viall at TodayTix. That's TIX.com/Nick Viall for an additional $20 off your first ticket purchase. TodayTix.com/Nick Viall. Drizly is the go-to app for drink delivery, especially during the holidays. Whether sending drinks from afar, hosting festive parties, or just restocking your bar with some seasonal appropriate beverages, you can find the right drinks for the occasion on Drizly. Save dough by comparing prices on a huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits from local stores. Whether it's Bullet Bourbon, Don Julio, Kettle One, and more, Drizly has all your favorite drinks, spirits, wine, beer, and so much more. There are so many amazing use cases for when Drizly can save your day. Whether you're running late to that party and you forgot to pick up a drink to, not come empty-handed, to maybe give a last-minute gift to a friend or colleague. Maybe not a last-minute gift. I mean, everyone loves a nice bottle of their favorite alcohol. I received a wonderful bottle of whiskey for my birthday from Drizly, from someone who just wanted to tell me how important I was to them. And I greatly appreciated it. There's no better way to take advantage of the convenience of Drizly than at a party where the fun is flowing, but the drinks have run out. Well, fear not. Just go to the Drizly app or Drizly.com. Select some of your favorite drinks, whatever you're looking for. They have such a great variety of wines, beers, craft beers, your favorite spirits. Download the Drizly app or go to drizly.com. The go-to app for alcohol delivery. Must be 21 years or older. Not available in all locations. Again, just download the Drizly app or go to drizly.com. How's it going?
Hi, I'm Alana. I'm 23, and my situationship and myself can't move on from each other.
How long have you been dating? Well, whatever you want to call it. How long have you been hanging out with him?
It was my ex one, so we're not together anymore. But we were together for about 3 months, so it was pretty short lived.
Okay, you were in a committed relationship. You were boyfriend and girlfriend for 3 months.
No, it was a situationship. We never got together fully.
Oh, okay. And now what is it?
Ex situationship, but we still talk and hang out sometimes
And have sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Not that you were ever in a relationship, but what happened at the end of 3 months that made it stop?
So I just graduated from college. So my last semester of college, I got introduced to him by my best friend who works with him. And basically, I wasn't really interested to begin with at first because he's not my usual type, but his personality was really awesome. So I gave it a chance, and he's very adamant and persistent. He wanted to be together. So I gave him a chance, and we ended up clicking really well. And it was one of those things where I wanted to wait until graduation to make sure that we were compatible before doing distance because we live in different states. And he agreed, but he was more persistent to the fact that we would end up working well. He would make it work, everything. So I believed him. And then come graduation, he got cold feet and didn't want to do distance. So he ended it with me abruptly.
Okay. How did that make you feel?
Shitty,
Sure.
basically. I just was really surprised because he was the one pushing for it. And he had told me he was going to try. And then actually 24 hours after he committed to trying, he ended it with me. So there was no in between where I felt like something was off.
Yeah. Well, it's good news, bad news. The good news is that you don't like him as much as you think you do.
I don't know.
I mean, I do. Think about it. Your gut, your instinct told you that, I'm on the fence about this guy. I like his personality. He's great. We got some valid concerns about our compatibility. If for no other reason, then we're going to be long distance. And I still know very little about him, but he begged you and he convinced you and he made a PowerPoint presentation. I'm kidding about that. But you know what I'm saying? He
did have a notes app about me.
There you go. Right. So he had all these things, and I, if nothing else, that must have felt very flattering. Here is this guy who's out there being like, "You're special. This is why. You're better than me. You're the best. I'm the worst. But let me show you why you should give me a chance. Just give me a chance. I'll show you. You queen. You wonderful person. You're the epitome of life. And you felt probably so pursued and." It was probably great, and that is great. It's great to be pursued that way. And then overnight, he's just kidding. The blow to your ego must have been devastating.
Yeah.
Your ego is obsessed with this guy. I don't know about your heart or you, but your ego is just, he tricked your ego, and now your ego is left to be wait, what about the notes app? We're special. How could you, I don't know if I like you, but you're supposed to be obsessed with me, if I move to fucking Antarctica, you're supposed to fucking chase me. What the fuck? This is what your ego is constantly saying, And so now when he does reach out, when he pokes his head out of the ground, your ego's like, oh my God, see, he's just going to come around. He's going to realize he's going through something. He's got some brain fog right now. He's not thinking clearly. He's going through some sort of I just graduated crisis, but don't worry. You're amazing. You just got to give him time. You just got to give him time. And that's what your ego is telling you over and over. And you just have to see the forest through the trees. You have to see that. You have to be honest with yourself and recognize that you are chasing this fix of validation from him. And again, I'm sure he's nice, but when you talk about what you're looking for in a relationship and how you want to be treated, you don't know much about him other than he's kind of a fun time and he makes you laugh.
Yeah. It's like hard because every time, so I'm only an hour away from where he lives. He still lives in my college town.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm down there consistently because my best friend also lives by there. So it's been a thing where every time I go down there, he confesses his love to me. He over the summer said, I love you for the first time to me. But then he'll say all these things. And then the next day, he'll say, he doesn't remember saying all the stuff.
So he's doing it when he's drinking, I'm assuming?
Sometimes have been, and then sometimes haven't been. So the last time that we hung out was a week ago, and it was during my alumni weekend. And I had totally cut him off because I couldn't do the hookup thing with him anymore.
What does totally cut him off mean? How many days was totally cut him off?
About like 2 weeks before I saw him again.
Okay. And you're already long distance, so that's like that's not cutting him off at all.
I know. I know it's not. I know. But I told him, I said I was done. I said I couldn't do the hookup thing anymore. Like I couldn't keep it casual because I thought maybe I could do that and still hang out with him and see what happens. But I asked him, I said, do you have any feelings for me? And he said, no, I don't. So I said, okay, then I'm done. There's no point for this anymore. And then basically on alumni weekend, I was at the bar. We were both there all day. I'd avoided him. And then eventually at some point we ended up talking. And he confessed everything to me, being like, I hate being single. I regret not being with you. I thought I was going to be happy. I'm not. Like, I still love you.
Was one of the first things he said was, I hate being single?
It was a very toxic way we started talking. So the first thing that he mentioned was like, the way we brought up talking to each other is we both had made out with other people in front of each other. And so he came up to me and was like, what? Like, that was crazy, right? And I was like, yeah, pretty bad. So the first thing he was talking about was like, yeah, I just did that to make you jealous. And I said the same thing because I also did that to make him jealous.
I mean, all your decisions are very ego-based. And you need to, I say this with love, you need to stop being so gullible.
I know. That's what my friends say.
You need to kind of have that honesty with yourself that you're being kind of gullible when it comes to, you're so responsive to him. You know, you are waiting for him to say or do something. You are reacting to him. You're basing all your decisions around his attention, his validation. First of all, like, this guy's a mess. And I'm sure he's a swell guy, but like, I want someone who knows they want to be with me. I want someone who doesn't one day say they love me and the next day act almost cold and mean to me. You know, like, that's a turnoff. That's an ick. This is the conversation you need to be having with yourself. I'm not looking for that type of guy. I'm not looking for someone who's on the fence and will one day make a note nap, the next day, you know, I don't want to date a coward. He's a coward. You need to stop being gullible. And then when you communicate with him at all, which should be very brief in the future, it's not the energy you don't want to bring is, I can't date you anymore. I can't do this, as if like you're a victim of his actions. You need to say, I'm over this. Like, this is beneath me. This is childish. And I'm tired of being childish with you. So like, just don't call me, because you're just wasting your time and my time, and you can't respond to him like the next day being like, oh, you're right. You know, like, you need to like say no to him multiple times. And then when he's like, no, really, but like, I have no reason to trust your decision making. You don't trust yourself. You're on the fence. One day you think this, the next day you think that. How could anyone trust you? You don't even know what you want. You can't trust yourself. This is the energy you need to bring to him.
I should have been trying harder, because I know it's like accurate, because that's what everyone's been saying. And I know it's also true, because he does this every single time I see him.
Yeah. And now you guys created this pattern, you know, he knows you're going to always come around. He knows he can get a reaction out of you. He can even make out with a girl and get you to talk to him.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. That did not feel good.
Yeah, well, you're addicted to the fix. You know, you've heard me use that kind of sugar analogy in the past. It's like, you know, it doesn't feel good to like pig out on a bunch of Sour Patch Kids, but you know, we do it sometimes.
In the words of Miley Cyrus, everybody makes mistakes.
Everybody has those days.
But it's up to you. You know, do you want to have the hangover that comes with giving in to him and giving into your ego, or do you just want to grow up yourself and recognize that like this is not the type of relationship I'm looking for. This is something to do. It keeps me occupied. It keeps me invested. It's drama. And yeah, drama can be fun. And you are investing your time in drama. And we've all done that. You'll do it again, you know, and certainly in our early 20s, we do it a lot, but it's really up to you, you know, how much drama do you want? But
yeah,
he is not going to magically come around.
that's so true. I'm probably gonna see him again, not like
Why?
one-on-one, but I will be going back to that town like in a few weeks, and it's a small town, so more likely than not I'll probably be running into him.
Okay.
And this happens again, I just don't really know how to handle it again.
Treat him like someone you went to high school with that you kind of like would rather like cross the street, not because you dislike them, but it's more because like, I don't know what to fucking say to this guy. That person, like you kind of know each other, but you're like, I don't want to talk to you, but you're friendly. But if you were, you would be nice if like you know, hey, how's it going? This very kind of surface level. Act like you've already moved on. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, what's up? Oh, that's cool. Talk, but don't talk. Don't talk about anything meaningful. If he texts you, don't respond. If he calls you, don't answer.
Oh, okay, that's so hard, but I will.
I mean, it's up to you. It's not that hard.
I know.
It's hard to, you know, it's hard to eat healthy. But some people choose to do it and some people don't. It's hard to get out of bed and go work out. You know, some people choose to do it, some people don't. But you can do it. You know, don't tell yourself that it's so hard that you can't do it, you know, that you don't have the willpower to say no to this guy. So you have to tell yourself, I absolutely can do this. I don't want to be sucked into the drama. I want to make healthier decisions for myself. I don't want to have temporary moments of feeling good only to be followed by like sadness. I mean, it must be really shitty to hear I have no feelings for you whatsoever.
Yeah. And then it's wild to hear that that's like not accurate about like a few weeks later.
Who the fuck knows what's accurate? I don't know what's accurate.
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, quite honestly, it's probably the same thing. You know, guys love a good chase. You know, women love a good to be chased. And you guys are kind of falling into the stereotypes of, you know, what young men and women, you know, kind of get fixes off of.
So do you think that he like straight up probably just doesn't have feelings for me, but just has like the ego boost?
I don't really. I'm sure he thinks you're swell and whatever and pretty and nice but right now he's as selfish. You know, as many people your age are now more than ever. You know, he's thinking, I just graduated from school. Do I really want to be in a long distance relationship? I got to think about my career. And these are all valid feelings that he has. Mm-hmm. But the world has told him that it's okay, you know, to be selfish. But, you know, we also want to have companionship in a relationship. And he doesn't have the conviction to, I guess, do the right thing and say, hey, right now, this time in my life is about me and I'm going to be selfish and I'm going to focus on these things I need. And it's not fair for me to, you know, fuck with other people's feelings because I'm feeling lonely at times. But, you know, most 23-year-olds unfortunately just don't have that type of, you know, conviction or character.
So if he calls, I shouldn't answer.
No more conversations about whatever this is, about the two of you. You need to make a decision for yourself about what you want and what makes you happy, and you need to follow through with it.
I know that's true.
And you can do it. You're not this helpless, weak person.
I know. I think it was like the first time in a long time that someone has like actually like liked me and been like really invested in me.
That's nice.
That I kind of fell in love with. So it's like hard to let go of.
But what got you there? What got you there?
I just felt really comfortable and like I felt like myself with him, and he just
No, but that's not what got you there. What got you there is demonstrating confidence and power and initially giving him the impression that you weren't sure if he was worth your time. In the future, just keep focusing on your self-confidence and knowing what you're worth. Keep investing in yourself. Keep, making yourself the best possible partner for whoever your future partner is whenever you meet, and that's taking care of yourself, taking care of your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health. Be happy with your choices about what you're doing, and the men will come, because people like confident, self-assured people. People like people who they wonder if they have time for them. So if you preoccupy yourself with things that you're doing for yourself and for your friends and for your family and for your community, and you come across as a really busy, successful person, and then you go out there and dabble, but the energy is more like, I don't know if I even have time for you. Trust me, the guys will bang the door down. Guys inherently like a good chase. So the waving of the hand that says essentially pick me is just generally it's like, oh, well, there's no chase there. So you don't need him to feel special. You just need to believe in yourself a little bit more. You have a lot of things going for you. There's zero chance guys aren't going to be into you. I don't know about every guy, but there'll be plenty of guys, most of which you won't like. But every once in a while, one of them will reveal themselves to be a pretty good option. And when that happens, you still have to stay the course of being the busy person and again, invest in things that you're passionate about. You're 23. You should be selfish right now. Invest in yourself, Your right now shouldn't be about men and boys. That'll happen. Be open to meeting men, be open to meeting guys, get out there, but it shouldn't be your main priority. I mean, that's probably my biggest regret when I was your age is that I made finding someone my top priority. And I should have just kind of put it somewhere in the top 5. And I should have focused more on myself and not like in a self-centered way, but just that I found myself comfortable with myself. And when I started doing that, everything changed for me. When I stopped thinking, well, until I find someone, then I'm incomplete. When I just accepted, you know what, maybe I'll find someone someday, Right now, I'm just going to be a great third wheel or a great fifth wheel with my friends. Honestly, that was a huge moment in my life. Is right after I broke up with my third girlfriend. I was 30 years old, 31, And up until that point, anytime I had broken up with a girlfriend, I was just a fucking loser, I guess. I was full of self-pity, really, really just pathetic. And then when I broke up with that one girlfriend, and I was 31 years old, I was kind of like, you know what? I'm sad. I really liked her. I really thought we were going to end up together. I was sad, but I'm going to find someone someday. I know I am. I just don't know when. And then I started volunteering. I started focusing more on my career. I got a better job. I mean, so much opened up for me because I just stopped obsessing over finding someone,
Yeah. It is, yeah. I mean, the reason I even, I feel like the last time when I was single before him, I got to that point where I was like, oh, I love being single. This is fun. And then he came around. So it's probably the most confident I've been. So. Yeah,
so you just kind of fucked with your ego. So you just got to get out of it.
I know. No, it's just hard.
It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
Dating. Well, I feel like dating right now, even at my age, it's just hard to find guys that even would commit to going on a date because they just want to hook up and that's it.
I get it. There is a lot of guys out there, but not all of them. And again, just don't be like all the other girls who are saying yes to the hookups. Stand out by investing in yourself. Say no to these guys. Guys love a no.
Oh,
and the ones worth your time, at least,
Yeah, I'm just over it. I'm over hookups. They feel nothing to me.
Good. Well, you did them. You had some fun, and I'm sure one day you'll have one in the future, but I'm glad you've come to this realization and you're still incredibly young in the best possible way. And I think if the more you focus on yourself and what makes you happy and what makes you feel confident, and then focus on investing in the people around you, your friends, be the best fucking friend to your girls. Be the best brother or sister or daughter, to your family members. And I promise you it'll attract people. You're going to have to show some discipline here or there. You're going to have to not give in to the drama and the fix that your ego so desperately wants, because your ego will. I mean, it's almost as you got to listen to your body. You got to listen to like why. Take a pause when you're in a vulnerable situation, when you're at the bar, and you before you go make out with someone, ask yourself, just be like, go to the bathroom and look like, why am I doing this? Have a conversation with yourself. How am I going to feel about this tomorrow? I think if you start doing that, it'll be a snowball effect. That will be your fix. The fix of choosing yourself, the fix of, making the long-term happy decision, not the fix of instant gratification, but the fix of knowing that like in 3 days, I'm going to feel real good about this. It's the same thing where you get on a healthy diet or you get back into the gym. Fucking brutal the first couple times. Then all of a sudden it's like, well, I can't not work out today because I keep that momentum going. So you just got to get some momentum when it comes to prioritizing yourself.
I did have one question for you. So my aunt set me up with this guy a while back, like 2 months ago probably. And we hung out a few times and then it kind of fizzled out. But I recently saw him when I was out in the city, and he told me like what bar he was going to, and he said hi and whatever, but I didn't end up going to the same bar as him because I was too scared to. But I thinking of maybe asking him if he wanted to like hang out soon, but I don't know if he'd be interested or not, and I don't know if I should.
I think, well, it's like part of me is just like, fuck it, just shoot your shot. Who gives a shit? But I don't want you to ask him out, have some sort of ego relapse because he rejects you, or, he's like, I don't know, he kind of fuckboys it and kind of says maybe in the future. And he's like, oh yeah, cool, someday, and then he doesn't reach out and you feel a little like, ugh, and then you need that validation fix. And then this motherfucker reaches out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay. So let it fizzle. Just wait.
I think you need to get out of this situationship first.
Okay.
And you need to do it on your own. And it can't be through another guy who just, you trade one validation fix for another.
That's probably my biggest downfall.
I don't need him to make me feel happy.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to, and then, shoot your shot.
Okay.
So you're just, again, it's about you listening to yourself and you prioritizing future self. Because the truth is, I don't know, reach out to this guy. And I don't know what he's going to say. And if he doesn't say yes, it has nothing to say about you. You have to be good at checking your ego. And that's just something you learn over time. And you're on your way. You're self-aware. You realize what you're doing. You're addressing it. You calling in as a positive sign of like, hey, I know this is something that's not serving me well. How do I get out of it? So that's a good thing. So you're on your way. You just have to get good at, prioritizing future you. That's the big takeaway. Will this make me happy in 3 or 4 days? And those are the choices you need to start making. Because right now, you're not thinking about that at all. And you're only doing what's making you happy in the exact moment you're in, with no consideration for tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. I would say that's probably true.
Okay. All right. So as far as reaching out to this other guy, whatever you want, just, it's not to get over him. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I liked hanging out with him a lot. But he's just hard to reach. He's a guy that doesn't use his phone ever, like at all. So it's like really hard to communicate with him. So if I do text him, it's like a response like 2 days later.
Okay. Well, you just have to prepare yourself for that. Like however he responds, you have to be able to handle it, internalize it, and not use it as an excuse to be weak.
Okay. I'll probably hold off on texting him. Okay. I feel like I need to figure things out.
Okay. That's a great decision.
Yeah. He needs to chase me. So we'll see if that happens.
All right. But big takeaway, you don't need these guys to feel special or happy. You have plenty of time to find love. And the more that you invest in yourself, the more you will increase your chances. And now I'm not saying be self-centered or have like a main character and be a drama, but just invest in yourself and investing your community and your friends. and be busy and be unavailable.
Okay. I will do that. I will.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Good luck. Keep us posted.
I will. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Reality Recap. And on Thursday's episode of Going Deeper, the legendary duo of Allie and AJ are with us. We'll see you then. Bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.